This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. I think we know this already. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Wednesday, yes, which makes it Whip 'em Out Wednesday, March the 25th of 2026. And we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Yep, infiltration and Radio Big is kind of the way that we do stuff around here. There is no doubt about that as we are talking. So how are you? How has the last 24 hours or so been for you? Hopefully it's been a grandiose time in regards of everything that's going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's just kind of how things go from time to time. So how are you? Good. That is grandiose. Now, let's talk about it. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. That's just kind of really how it goes about in regards to doing some of the things. But don't worry, because I have some stuff to share right away. If you want to interact with the show, callinradio.com will get you there. That's callinradio.com. We'll get you directly into the system, and we'll get you moving and grooving with everything going on. So call in radio. Audio, video, and text messaging are the options once you get there. This gives me a little prompter right there on the screen. Lets me know exactly what needs to be done next, and then we kind of move forward. Outside of that, our show just kind of goes a little bit everywhere. We talk about safety, we talk about the news, and then what ends up taking place is that I give you a level of main story after we bring in our professional broadcasters that talk about exactly what is going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because, hey, they sure as shit know what's going on. They spend, the whole night writing some of this stuff, looking up the news stories, and then giving you everything and all things that need to happen. So there you go. Always a good time as we are hanging out. So there you go. Some interesting stuff as we are looking into the level of the world of the multiverse. So with that being said, I do have my friends waiting from Feature Story News that they're ready to talk, to let you know what exactly is going on. We normally start off with all of the news cycle stuff. And the reason behind this is because we want to make sure that you know exactly what is happening, opposed to it just you kind of walking in blindsided with having no clue what is happening out there inside of the world. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and bring in our friends from Feature Story News right now? They'll get moving, they'll get grooving, and everything will start going down the cycle. So here you go. Here is the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News, I'm Rebecca Bunsen in Mumbai. US President Donald Trump says negotiations to end the Iran war are underway. These comments come after Iranian officials denied any talks with the US had taken place. Trump also said that Iran had offered the US a present.
No, it wasn't nuclear related. It was oil and gas related. And it was a very nice thing they did. But what it showed me is that we're dealing with the right people. Because, you don't know, because the leadership was killed, all gone. And then many of the people in the third tier are gone. But we're dealing with a group of people that I think turn out. And the present, the gift they made to us was very significant.
A preliminary investigation into the deadly Air Canada crash at New York City's LaGuardia Airport has found that the air traffic controllers on duty were doing the jobs of multiple people. But the head of the National Transportation Safety Board cautioned against pointing fingers, saying many things must have gone wrong. The Sunday night crash left the pilots of the plane dead. They've now been identified as Antoine Forret and Mackenzie Gunther. Tony Waterman reports.
NTSB chairwoman Jennifer Hamady said there were 2 air traffic controllers in the tower at the time of the accident. At least one was doing the job of multiple people. Standard procedure, Hamady said, for the midnight shift at LaGuardia. Although she added that's been a concern for years. She also said the fire truck that was hit was not equipped with a transponder, which could have triggered a crash warning system. That truck was responding to a separate emergency when the crash occurred. Investigators are now examining the black box and interviewing the firefighters and controllers to determine why the truck was crossing the runway while a plane was landing and why the controllers' last-second warnings to stop weren't heeded.
President Donald Trump and India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke about the importance of keeping the Strait of Hormuz open during what was the first call between the two leaders since the Iran war started. It comes as India has been working diplomatic channels to get Indian vessels to pass through the narrow stretch of water as it works on averting an energy crisis. Ishan Garg has more from New Delhi.
President Donald Trump called up Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the two leaders discussed ensuring peace and stability in the Gulf region, according to a post by Mr. Modi on social media platform X. India is among the nations severely impacted by supply disruptions in West Asia as the bulk of its oil and gas passes through this region. New Delhi has been speaking with Gulf nations as well, with Indian Foreign Minister holding a meeting with ambassadors from Gulf Cooperation Council nations this week. As India prepares to battle a looming energy crisis, the government is convening an all-party meeting on Wednesday. It's expected that leaders will discuss ensuring supply of cooking gas to the most vulnerable and energy-saving measures for 1.4 billion people.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, growing fears in Europe and elsewhere about the possible impacts of the US and Israeli war on Iran on immigration. David Miliband heads the International Rescue Committee from its headquarters in New York and is raising the alarm.
Although we don't have an IRC team in Iran, there are very few international NGOs in Iran. The United Nations now reports over 3 million Iranians displaced within the country. The population, as you know, of Iran, 90 million. 3 million displaced makes it one of the largest potential refugee crises we've known. Just by way of comparison, if you think back to the Syria crisis that was tumult in Europe 10 years ago, Syrian population only 25 million. If anything like that proportion of the Iranian population move through Turkey and elsewhere, then obviously that'd be huge. I also want to flag Lebanon, which is a small country, 6 million, 5.5 million people, over 1 million Lebanese, 1.2 million displaced, 1,000 killed, by the way. And that the displacement there is over 1 million. All to say the direct humanitarian impact of this war is now being felt.
Turkish officials have held several conversations with the EU's migration commissioner and says it is hardening the country's border with Iran in an effort to limit the impact of displacement. But fears are growing. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. US President Donald Trump says negotiations to end the Iran war are underway. A preliminary investigation into the deadly Air Canada crash at New York City's LaGuardia Airport has found that the air traffic controllers on duty were doing the jobs of multiple people. President Trump and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi have spoken about the importance of keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. And that is the latest feature story news. Rebecca Bunden reporting.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
We all want to make sure that our family is protected in medical emergencies. What many of us don't realize is that health insurance won't always cover the full amount of an emergency medical flight. Even with comprehensive coverage, you could get hit with high deductibles and copays. That's why an Air Medcare Network membership is so important. As a member, if an emergency arises, you won't see a bill for air medical transport when flown by an AMCN provider. Best of all, a membership covers your entire household for as little as $85 a year. AMCN providers are called upon to transport nearly 100,000 patients a year. This is coverage no family should go without. Now, as a Jay Allen Show listener, you'll get up to a $50 e-gift card with a new membership. Simply visit airmedcarenetwork.com/safety and use the offer code SAFETY. And don't forget to tell them that Jay Allen sent you.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
You ever hit the wall, burnout, stressed, or just feeling that everything is piling up and thought, yeah, I probably need to talk to someone? The problem is finding the therapist who actually takes your insurance feels impossible at times. That's where Rula comes in. Rula is a healthcare company that makes mental health care easy to access and actually affordable. They partner with over 100 insurance plans, so the average copay is about $15 a session, sometimes even less. With Rula, you get matched with the right therapist for you, not just whoever's available. Their network has over 15,000 licensed professionals, and you can book an appointment as soon as tomorrow. No wait list, no frustrations, just therapy that works with your schedule and your insurance. Thousands of people are already using Rula to get affordable, high-quality therapy that actually covered by insurance. Visit rula.com/safetyfm to get started. After you sign up, you'll be asked how you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know that we sent you there. That's rula.com/safetyfm. You deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget. Go to rula.com RULA.com/safetyfm right now to get started. That's RULA.com/safetyfm, because you deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Really? We're going with too stupid? Okay, well, I guess that works. So anyways, let's get into it, because there's always a plethora of things to discuss and talk about. Do I really want to start off with this kind of? Really? Okay, we'll start off with it, because it was given to me, so let's do it. Finish. A circus performer known as the Baron just yanked away his record books literally by pulling 2,184 pound carriage using nothing but his nipple piercings. Yep, this is where we're starting today. The stunt countered on German TV show where his partner even hopped into the carriage to make it heavier. That officially tops the previous record held by an American performer, the great Nippolini. Yep, and it isn't the first rodeo either. Back in 2013, the Baron already proved that he was built differently by lifting nearly 72 pounds the same way. Apparently, that's when he says chest day means to him. So there you go. You know it's serious when you get a barbell and says, I'm out. So there you go. I don't know how to make this stuff up. I just got to share it with you. Yeah. So there you go. Okay, somewhere out there, a pothole just earned a medical breakthrough award. A woman from India who had been declared brain dead reportedly regained consciousness after an ambulance ride hit a rough patch on the road. Literally, the jolt from the pothole is being credited by snapping her back, turning a routine transport into a headline nobody saw coming. Doctors are stunned that the road crews are suddenly looking for a lot more information. So yeah, think about that for a moment. You took a pothole, you hit the pothole, and then all of a sudden everything changed for you. Changed for you because, hey, there was a pothole that revived the person that was going on. And I mean revive in a good way, not the bad way. So there you go. Let's continue talking about some news of the weird. A woman in North Carolina struck gold after playing a Wheel of Fortune themed lottery game, all because she was watching the show every night with her mom, and that habit inspired her to try the digital instant version with just a 50-cent play. She hit $1.2 million jackpot, and she says that she was totally in shock, thinking that it couldn't be real at first, and now the plan is simple: take care of her family. So yeah, sometimes watching TV does pay off, literally. What else do we got? Okay, a driver in Los Angeles County got pulled over after cruising in the carpool lane with what looked like a passenger until officers realized that it was a jacket strapped into a seat like a human. The California Highway Patrol says the setup was pretty convincing at a glance, seatbelt and all, but not convincing enough to avoid a stop. And just to be clear, they reminded everyone carpool lanes are for actual people, not wardrobe. I mean, I understand traffic is bad in California, in certain sections of California.
Duh.
But is it really worth dressing something up to put it inside of your vehicle to say, hey, yeah, I'm riding with my homies. You know, it just doesn't make any sense to me in regards to doing that. Okay, so let's talk about it, because why would we not do that? WTF, welcome to Florida. Only in Florida do you get traffic backed up by a missile. Yep. A driver in the Tampa Bay area highway sparked a full-on emergency response after people spotted what looked like a missile mounted onto a bed of a truck. Troopers pulled him over, and suddenly it wasn't just a traffic stop. Multiple agencies showed up. Roads were locked down, and the bomb squad rolled in. Turns out that the driver said that he bought the missiles online for display at an event. After all the drama, officials confirmed that they were just plastic props, completely harmless. No danger, just a dramatic commute. Authorities basically told him maybe don't drive around with fake rockets like you're on a Bond movie, and sent him on his way. Meanwhile, social media had a field day. Some joking, some questioning the stop, and others just glad that they weren't driving behind him. Nothing says Casual Tuesday like hauling a missile down I-4. That's not a truck. That's a midlife crisis with a payload. I mean, what the hell was going on there? Some people, I just don't get it. It's kind of weird. So there you go. Let's see. What else do we got? I guess let's get a little serious for a moment, because we need to be serious. So here you go. Let's get into some things. So we'll start off with this one. Donald Trump appeared to shift the blame of Iran war on Pete Hegseth, as the president suggested that his Secretary of War came up with the idea of striking Iran. Speaking on Monday at a conference in Tennessee, Trump said, "I called a lot of our great people and said, let's talk. We got a problem in the Middle East, and we have a country known as Iran that for 47 years, it's just been, pure terror. And they are close to a nuclear weapon." Turning to Pete, who is sitting to his right, Trump added, "And Pete, I think you were the first one to speak up," and he said, "Let's do it, because you can't let them have a nuclear weapon." The defense secretary forced an awkward smile as Trump continued discussing the ongoing talks with Iran, claiming that he had started last night, and I think it was very good. They want peace. They've agreed that they will not have a nuclear weapon, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we'll see. You have to get it done. But I would say there's a very good chance, Trump said. Take a listen.
And Pete, I think you were the first one to speak up. And you said, let's do it, because you can't let them have a nuclear weapon. So we are now having really good discussions. They started last night, a little bit, the night before that. And I think they're very good. They want peace. They've agreed they will not have a nuclear weapon, et cetera, et cetera. But we'll see. You have to get it done. But I would say there's a very good chance. And it began when I said that we were planning tomorrow on shooting down some of their power plants, and we're going to hold that up.
So there you go. That's what the president had to say about what was going on. So we'll take a looky and see what happens going forward. There is no doubt there whatsoever. So what do you think about the whole thing? So was it Pete's idea? Was it his idea? Who will ever know what's going on? At the White House, Donald Trump took questions at the Oval Office ahead of the swearing of McClain as the Secretary of Homeland Security, and things quickly turned into a situation with Iran. Trump said that he believes a peace deal could happen, but stopped short of guaranteeing it. At the same time, he made a much stronger claim that the war is essentially already won, arguing that the only thing that's keeping the perception of conflict alive is the media coverage. He pointed to the U.S. military dominance, saying that Iran lacks the ability to respond effectively, and describing their forces as already wiped out. He also took shots at outlets like the New York Times, ABC News, and NBC News, accusing them of portraying the situation as closer than it is. So there you go. What do you think there? Some stuff to think about there. Take a listen to this one. A Colorado man is finally heading home. The Taliban government in Afghanistan announced the release of the U.S. citizen Dennis Coyle, who had been detained since January of 2025 while doing language research. Yes, language research. I did say that correctly. According to officials, the decision came after the request from his mother and the ruling by the country of Supreme Court, which determined that he had been held long enough. Coyle, who's from Pueblo, Colorado, had been in Afghanistan studying local languages when he was detained. Now, after more than a year in custody, he is being let go, ending the situation that had been largely under the radar. So good to hear that the person finally got out. So there you go. There you go. Okay, a jury in New Mexico. The parent company of Facebook and Instagram, Meta, failed to protect minors from predators and violated consumer protection laws. The result was a massive $375 million penalty. Jurors reached that decision fast. Just one day of deliberation, say that the company put profits over kids' safety and ignored the internal warnings about the harm to young users. State officials are calling it a historic win and say that they're not done yet, with some penalties and changes to the platform potentially coming. Meanwhile, a similar case playing out in Los Angeles is going the opposite direction. The jury has been stuck for a week and still can't agree, raising the possibility of a mistrial. At the center of the case is now a 20-year-old woman who says that she started using social media at the age of 10 and claims the platform designed to contribute to depression and suicidal thoughts. So the split screen here, one jury comes down hard and fast on Meta, while the other can't even agree on what happened yet. So there you go. There you go. What do you think? Some stuff to think about, right? Okay, what else? I got a weird one for you, if you're willing to take a listen.
If you're willing to take a listen, of course.
A massive heat dome is turning the U.S. into an early season oven, and it's not done yet. Meteorologists say that the system has already shattered March heat records by 14 states. It could get down to the largest heat wave in American history. Right now, it's been roasting the Southwest, but it's spreading east, with forecasters warning that basically the entire U.S. is about to feel it. Some areas are seeing historic extremes. Parts of Arizona and California hit 112 degrees, blowing past previous records. Cities like Flagstaff could see nearly 2 straight weeks of record-breaking heat, while the plains are expected to hit in the 90s. What makes this unusual isn't just the temperatures, it's the sheer size. Experts say the geographic reach of the heat wave could rival or exceed events that occurred in 2012 and in 2021, though it's not quite as intense and brutal as the Dust Bowl era heat waves. The one bit of good news is that it's still early in the year, so humidity isn't bad as it's part of the summer. Still, this is a rare sprawling heat event, rewriting March records books across a huge chunk of the country. Relief is coming eventually, but not until sometime next week. Until then, the U.S. is basically one heat map. So there you go. What do you think? I'm just asking the question. Okay, so I got some interesting ones here, and they're all going to be related to flying to some extent, but bear with me. Even members of Congress are getting in line now. Delta Airlines has temporarily suspended the perk that let lawmakers to skip the regular TSA lines, saying the ongoing travel chaos and staffing shortages have stretched resources too thin. The move comes as airports across the country deal with long delays tied to issues of the Transportation Security Administration, where the staffing has taken a hit during the current government shutdown. With many workers unpaid, some have left the job, making already long lines even worse. Delta says that lawmakers will now have to go through security lines like everyone else, and with access based on the frequent flyer status and not their job title. Airports including Hartsfield, Jackson, and Atlanta International Airport have been hit especially hard, with travelers being told to show up as much as 4 hours early. Yes, 4 hours early. There you go. There you go. Some stuff to think about there. Okay, take a listen to this one, and I hope you're sitting down as I'm about to say it. NASA plans to spend about $30 billion, yes, I did say with a B, to build a permanent lunar base and eventually send astronauts to the moon every 6 months after the future mission in the Artemis program. NASA leadership laid out the 3-phase plan. First, send robotic missions to gear up to set things up. 2, second, build a semi-livable setup for astronauts. Third, turn it into a full or permanent base. The first 2 phases would cost about $20 billion over the next 7 years, and the final phase adding about $10 billion. Officials say it won't happen overnight, but the goal is to establish a long-term human presence on the moon and keep the U.S. as the leading in space exploration. To speed things up, NASA is shifting focus from the planned lunar orbit station and instead repurposing the tech for the base itself. Now, that's not it's not just stopping there either. The agency also says it wants nuclear-powered spacecraft ready for Mars mission for 2028. So there you go. Got a couple more for you if you don't mind. The feds just took a swing at the Wi-Fi box, and it's not a small one. The Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, has added foreign-made Wi-Fi routers to its covered list, basically flagging the potential national security risk. The concerns hackers tied to countries like China and Russia using those devices and backdoor into American homes, businesses, and infrastructure. Here's the catch. This doesn't mean that your current router suddenly turns into a spy movie prop. Anything that already in your homes is still to use and stores it and can still sell existing inventory. The crackdown is aimed to the future imports, which are now facing tighter restrictions. That's a big deal because the router market is heavily globally. Brands like TP-Link, Asus, and Netgear all rely on overseas manufacturing, and a huge chunk of the routers are sold in the U.S. come out of China, Taiwan, and Vietnam. Officials say that cyber attacks exploring routers vulnerabilities have been ramping up, everything from disrupting networks to spying and stealing data. So the government's trying to cut off the risk at the source. So there you go. We'll have to take a look at that as things move forward. No doubt about that. Okay. Are you ready for this one? Take a listen to this one. Kristi Noem, along with her close ally, Corey Lewandowski, is now tied to a wide-ranging criminal investigation inside of the Department of Homeland Security. Let's see. The agency inspector general has kicked things off, telling dozens of current and former officials to lock down everything, emails, texts, documents, the whole digital paper trail. What's under the microscope? Billions of dollars in no-bid government contracts approved during Noem's time in charge. Investigators aren't just looking at one issue either. It stretches beyond the flashy $220 million ad campaign that already raised eyebrows and helped lead to Noem's and Lewandowski's being pushed out earlier this month. According to insiders, a probe is digging on how the contracts were handled behind the closed doors, with claims that Noem and Corey kept tight control over the approvals, especially big money deals that reportedly caused delays in things like FEMA disaster relief and border wall protection projects. Listen to me. While also raising questions about whether the standard overnight got a sidestep. There are also accusations floating around from contractors that Corey pushed a kind of pay-to-play setup nicknamed the Lewandowski tax. Though he flatly denied all of that information, of course. The whole thing is fake news. Import details. No one's been charged with a crime. This is still under investigation phase, so if anything's criminal is found, it'll get handed off to prosecutors. So there you go. Definitely some things to think about.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so some main story time, and I think it's time to get into it and start talking, because that's what we do around here. We talk, we look around, we gather, we talk about this, we talk about that, and we move forward. So there is a very specific quite type of madness that infects people in this profession. And it doesn't happen all at once. It's slow. It's an agonizing erosion of your reality, and it happens when you're forced to constantly jump between two completely incompatible universes. In one universe, you're sitting in a brightly lit conference room looking at the beautiful formatted PowerPoint deck that insists that new safety management software is going to revolutionize the company's culture. In the other universe, you walk out of the double door, the noise hits you like a physical wall, and the temperature jumps 30 degrees, and you watch 22-year-old kid bypass machine guards so he doesn't get screamed at for missing a quota. And when you live in that gap, the gap between sterile corporate narrative and the brutal kinetic reality of physical world, your brain starts to fracture. You become paralyzed. You drown in philosophy. You drown in paperwork, and you lose the ability to actually intervene and save a life. You do not need another safety slogan. You do not need another continuing education credit, and you need a new cognitive operating system. You need a mental framework with hard, unforgiving boundaries to process the distortion. Today, we are installing that operating system. It is built on 3 distinct protocols. Bear with me as I tell you this. One will be related to Philip K. Dick. The other one will talk about Signal. And in the other portion, we'll talk about something known as Jeet Kune Do. Let's load the first protocol. We'll call it the Philip K. Dick space, or the inquiry space, if you don't mind. If you know anything about Philip K. Dick, you know that he's a sci-fi author who spent his entire life tearing down the illusion of reality. In this framework, PKD is your disruptor. When the corporate machine rolls out the behavioral initiatives or claims that safety is our number one priority, do not accept it at face value. You enter what I will call the PKD space. In here, you are allowed to question the narratives. You use the space to destabilize false certainty. You look at the shiny new policy. You ask the dangerous questions. Why was this actually written? Is this designed to keep human beings from bleeding, or is it an elaborate legal mechanism designed to transfer liability from corporation directly onto the worker? PKD exposes the illusion. It challenges the authority structures that demand blind compliance. But listen to me very carefully as I say this, because this is where people fail. The PKD space has a strict impenetrable boundary. Philip K. Dick is not allowed to decide what works physically. It is not allowed to override the embodied feedback of the real world. PKD asks questions, does not give marching orders. If you violate that boundary, you will become a cynical, paranoid ghost haunting at an office cubicle. You will sit around convinced that everything is a lie, completely paralyzed from you taking action. PKD breaks the lock. This is all it does. It does not open the door. Once the false certainty is shattered, you have a pile of debris, and you have to move the protocol to number 2. The signal space. This is your sense-making space. Now that you know that the corporate matrix is distorted, what do you do with the information? The signal is where the organization, or you organize the meaning. You analyze the disruption, or the distortion in this case, and you connect to the experience. When you investigate an incident, the signal allows you to look past the broken machine and see the systemic pressure that actually caused the failure. You stop looking at the human error as a root cause, and you translate the insight into language that explains the context. The signal gives you the vocabulary to articulate the system why it behaves the way that it does. Just something to think about. But the signal also has a hard limit. The signal is not allowed to replace experience. It's not allowed to rationalize pain. It is strictly forbidden from being intellectually avoidance. So think about that. You can't avoid these things. This is an epidemic of safety professionals who get permanently struck with the signal space. They go to the conferences, they read the books, they use the high-level academic buzzwords, and they write brilliant multi-page essays on LinkedIn about the nuances of organizational culture. But they use the intellect as a shield. They use a vocabulary to avoid the messy, confrontational, physical reality of stepping in front of the moving hazard. The signal interprets after the fact. It gives you the map, but it does not substitute for the walking the terrain. Which brings us to the final and the most critical protocol operating system, the Jeet Kune Do space, the verification space. Jeet Kune Do was developed by Bruce Lee. It is a core philosophy in brutal and pragmatic Absorb what is useful, discard what is useless. In our world, JKD is where the abstract philosophy finally hits the concrete. When you take the theories that you questioned in the PKD space and the context that originated in the signal space, and you bring them to strip away the excess, and you test the ideas through physical action. Does this 40-page administrative permit actually stop the kinetic energy of a 10-ton press? No, that is an illusion. It is useless, discarded. What actually stops the energy is a physical heavy-duty padlock on the main electrical breaker. That is what works. Absorb it. JKD grounds the abstraction. When the executives are losing their minds in a boardroom over lagging metrics and compliance audits, the JKD filter allows you to walk right past the noise, step into the floor, and physically lock out the hazard. It verifies the reality through action. But you must respect the boundary. JKD is not allowed to become a mythology. It is not allowed to become your personal identity. And it is definitely not the magical answer to everything. JKD is simply a filter. It is a crucible. It is the final checkpoint. You burn away the corporate theater to find the raw physical truth on what keeps human beings alive. This is the triad. This is the operating system. You use Philip K. Dick to question the sociopathic narrative of the machine. You see the signal to organize the chaos and translate the meaning. And then you use Jeet Kune Do to strip away the bureaucratic garbage and verify your solution in the physical world. Duh. So, all right, we're going to take a hard break right here and play in a moment. And we'll pay some bills. But before we fade into that hard commercial, I want you to run your own reaction through the framework today. The next time you feel mental friction between what you are being told and what you are physically seeing, stop reacting blindly. Boot up this system that we just discussed. Destabilize the lie. Make sense of the distortion and then strip it down until the only thing left in your hand is the physical action required to protect the person standing next to you. Do not let philosophy become the hiding place. Question it, translate it, and then go out there and physically break through the loop. So, this is where it's going to get interesting. So what I would like to see you do, if you do not mind, like I have told you, we do put this episode on a podcast. Go back, rewind, take a listen to this, if you need to, over and over again to make sure you understand it.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month, and 83% off. You can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Warning. Listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage.
I'm talking the truth.
Okay, here we are, 45 minutes past the top of the hour. As we are still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show, or hour number one of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show, depending on how you want to look at it. Yeah, we are still doing our thing. This right here that you're listening to, Asaf Spector, Never Look Back. Yeah, Never Look Back. Yeah, you know, we do a little bit of everything around here, no doubt there. We don't want you looking back today on this lovely Whip 'em Out Wednesday. You can give this song a little streamer-eamer action. Apple Music, YouTube Music, Spotify, Pandora. Some options for you. We would like to thank Asaf Spector for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Okay, so there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse, no doubt about that. Okay, so let's talk about some things that are going on. And matter of fact, if anything, these are the things that are probably the most important things that I will ever tell you. And that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And we want you to know that people have been where you are now and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says find help. Once you get there, you'll see information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, and grief support. All you have to do is go there, all kinds of information. It can change everything for you. I don't say that jokingly. I say that very seriously. TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. You go there, it will change things for you because of all of the great plethora of information that are on that website. You might say, hey, this is information not really for me, but it can be information for somebody else and can help change their life. TWLOHA.com, To Write Love on her arms. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about this. It's coming up next week. Conklin Workshop taking place in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Would love to see you there, March 31st through April the 1st. You can still get tickets at safetyfm.com and clicking on the section that says live events. We'll be actually hosting this workshop talking about how you look at incidents that occur using the lens of human and organizational performance. You'll have the opportunity to hang out with the likes of Todd Conklin, Redonda Voigt, Brett Sutton, and Ann Liren talking about how to look at these investigations. Would love to see you there. There's a QR code right there on the screen. You can give a little scan or in or two, or we can just see you there after you go to safetyfm.com and clicking on the section that says live events. If you can't make it to that one because it's too quick for you because it's coming up next week, we do have an event coming up in Orlando, and that one's on July the 13th, and it will be taking place, doing the stuff that we get to do. We'll be talking about some different aspects here. We'll be looking at behavior-based safety, conducted by Nick Weatherly, talking about human and organizational performance, handled by Todd Conklin, and I will be there talking about Signal. So, also on top of that, we will be doing a documentary/movie because we're doing this one inside of a movie theater. We're calling it Reality Shift. So we'd love to see you there, going over all of the information that we'll get to go over inside of a movie theater environment. So much different. We're doing it on Monday, July the 13th. There is a QR code right there on the screen, Arena. Would love for you to take a little scan too. Or if not, you can go to safetyfm.com and click on the section that says live events. We'll tell you, you go there, we'll hang out and do some stuff, no doubt about that. That's taking place July the 13th. We're doing it on a Monday. That way you can spend the weekend in Orlando if you want to do that because, hey, who doesn't want to be close to the house that the mouse built? I'm just saying. So with that being said, I do have John Small waiting in the wing wanting to talk about what the hell can get you motivated. So if you're good with it, I'm good with it. Let's go ahead and start off with the Motivation Minute.
Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Gary. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope." What a great quote. Can you accept disappointment? If not, don't ever get involved in sales of any kind. And whatever you do, don't start your own business. I've been a business owner now for over half of my life, and I've worked in sales for a little longer than that. I understand that you might tell me no. As a matter of fact, there are better odds that you'll say no than yes. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to say no for you. I'll give you the chance to say yes. And if you do, we get to work together. If you say no, that's okay. I just move on to somebody else, and eventually I'll find my yes. So many people get hung up on that. Why? It's not personal. It's just business. You don't need everyone to say yes. If you go out and see enough people and do your best to help them, you'll be fine. The Motivation Minute. This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Conflicting signals emerged Tuesday from U.S., Israel, and Iran on possible ceasefire talks amid the raging war.
Oil prices surged back above $100 a barrel as President Trump claimed talks with Tehran remain fluid, while Iranian officials denied direct communication. Strikes continue between Israel and Iran with no pause in violence. Global markets swing wildly on the uncertainty. Kyle Norris reporting.
Russia launched a massive wave of strikes across Ukraine on Tuesday, killing at least 5 people, according to officials.
The attacks hit 11 regions and rank among the worst in 10 days, with widespread damage reported. Officials say residential areas and infrastructure took heavy blows. No immediate claim of responsibility came forward. Gary Beck reporting.
A military cargo plane crashed shortly after takeoff in southwestern Colombia on Tuesday, with dozens feared dead.
The Colombian Air Force confirmed soldiers were aboard when the aircraft went down in a tragic accident. The defense minister says the cause remains under investigation. Rescue teams rushed to the remote site amid challenging terrain. Benjamin Wright reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
Travelers face long, unpredictable waits at U.S. airports Tuesday due to TSA staffing shortages from the DHS shutdown.
Lines stretch up to 2 hours at busy hubs like Atlanta as agents work without pay. Wait times vary widely by location and hour. Officials urge passengers to check updates and arrive extra early. Jessica Oakley reporting.
Senate Republicans rallied Tuesday behind a plan to end the DHS shutdown with targeted funding and immigration reforms.
Top senators met at the White House Monday night to craft the compromise excluding some ICE budget. They aim to win Democratic support, then push a partisan voter ID bill. Optimism grows despite past hurdles from President Trump. Liam White reporting.
A U.S. Park police officer got ambushed and shot in Washington Tuesday evening during an investigation.
2 gunmen targeted the officer in an unmarked vehicle, hitting him in the shoulder. He drove to safety, got aid, and flew to a hospital in serious but stable condition. Suspects remain at large with federal help in the hunt. Lawrence Keller reporting.
U.S. stocks swung between losses and gains Tuesday on uncertainty over the Iran war's length and economic fallout.
The Dow climbed over 600 points before settling with modest gains amid oil volatility. Markets react to ceasefire talk rumors and Strait of Hormuz blockages. Investors watch for any de-escalation signals from leaders. Kevin Sanders reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Quiz hotshot. During a heat wave, what's more important, air conditioning or air guitar?
Is it air conditioning?
Air guitar. The answer is always air guitar.
I think we should know that by now. It's always air guitar, no doubt about that. Okay, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 1961, Elvis Presley performs live at the USS Arizona. Also, 1957, NBA modifies the free throw rule. In 1995, Mike Tyson released from jail after serving 3 years. Let's see what else. In 1996, the U.S. issues a newly redesigned $100 bill. Yeah, it's already been 30 years. Wow, where's the time gone? Okay, with that being said, let's talk about some birthdays or celebrity birthdays going on today. Elton John turned 79, James McDaniel turned 68, Brenda Strong 66, Marcia Cross 64, Lisa Gay Hamilton turned 62, Sarah Jessica Parker turned 61, Danica Patrick turns 44, and Catherine McPhee turns 42 today. So there you go, some birthdays going on. Let's talk about some things that you ought to know. Donald Trump is reportedly eyeing J.D. Vance as a potential closer in the high-stakes talks with Iran, as a shaky ceasefire is starting to wobble again thanks to a fresh round of ballistic missile attack. The idea let the heavy hitters handle the groundwork and then sent Vance to slam the door on a deal. Sources say that Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner would take the lead of the formal negotiation, possibly in Pakistan, with Vance stepping in if things get close to the finish line. Also, the U.S. plans to deploy thousands of troops from the Army Elite 82nd Airborne Division into the Middle East. Multiple news sources outlet reported the expanded U.S. military buildup in the region as President Trump says that his administration is engaged in a very strong talks with Iran. Tonight's Powerball jackpot is $147 million, in case you're wondering. Let's see. Also, Easter isn't just about eggs and baskets anymore. It's a full-blown spending spree. Americans are expected to spend a record $24.9 billion on Easter this year, up from 5.5% from last year. The break comes down to $195 per person. Also a new high. Most of the money is going straight to food and gifts. Food alone is taking the biggest slice of around $7.5 billion, while candy, even with about 92% of people buying it, will counter roughly $3.5 million. So there you go. There you go. Some things to talk about as we are talking. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together at the top of the hour. I will be going over to radiobig.fm to do the things that we do over there, no doubt about that. So it is, doing the stuff, talking about the world of music, talking about the world of entertainment. You can come and hang out with me on radiobig.fm if you want to. If not, you can hang out here with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he will talk about the world of safety consulting. If I can't leave you with some words of wisdom for today, I would love to leave you with this. Act as if you want to make a difference, because it does. And if you want some advice for today, I'm too busy for with it is not my priority to. It will make your question how you actually spend your time. Think about it. Think about it for a moment. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.